Hi friends, welcome to Willinrow Arts. I'm Leslie, and today we are going to work on one of my favorite series, miniatures in cans. Paint cans, coffee cans, and today I want to do a tuna can. I'm a big fan of tuna. I'm the only one that eats it in my house, so I get these little mini tuna cans. So what I want to do is make a scene in this little tuna can. It's summer here in New Hampshire, and my favorite all-time summer activity to do has been go to a lake. So today I want to make a lake scene in a teeny little tuna can. So let's get started. First we gotta prep the table. I put this down for cutting purposes, and as you all know, I can't keep a surface clean. Some craft paper. Then we need a tuna can, glue. What I'm going to do first is cut out some paper to line the can. So now I have a blank surface to work from, and I plan to cover that little open hole with something. What you want to be careful with, and I suggest that this is more of an adult activity if you want to do something with it, because you got to be really aware that cans are sharp and you could easily cut yourself on this. So it's not necessarily a kid's activity. If you had like a cardboard can, plastic cylinder, I think it would be okay, but be very aware that there's sharp edges. So just a little disclaimer there. We're gonna start with a layer of white paint. Gonna cut corners a little bit by using a heat gun to dry our paint. If you're gonna dry something with a heat gun in a tin can, it does conduct the heat. Next step I want to do is paint the backdrop a little bit, just so it's not stark white. I'm going to just add a little bit of blues in there for sky and maybe some background trees. You might hear a lot of commotion in the back. That's just my kids. You hear that? That's my that's my middle. He is a heavy-footed walker. Okay, next I want to work on some trees. Here in New Hampshire, we have oak trees, maple trees, and pine trees, basically all mixed together. This time of year, everything is just green. We're just gonna go with some nondescript trees. That's just the base. We'll play around with that as we go. I want to make a little bit of a ground layer base. What I'm gonna do is use this foam putty. I could use air drying clay, but my air drying clay I have right now is terracotta, and I don't really want to get that all over everything. It tends to make a big mess. I'm gonna start with a little bit of a glue base just to give it something to stick to. Let's see. We're always experimenting here. Let's go in with the paintbrush. All right, I'm gonna carefully go in with my finger. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm shaping the area which I want to be land versus future water. Making a land surface. I want to be able to use resin and turn that into water. Again, keeping my fingers as best I can from the edge. This is way sharper than my coffee can or my paint can that I had previously used. So that's why I'm being extra cautious in this one. Now this might be something I have to work in layers to achieve. That's okay. I put my heat gun to it to see if I could accelerate it. And it actually worked, but it's because it's so thin. So this zone will be the lake and this zone will be the land. I'm using a little bit of water on my paintbrush to kind of smooth it a little bit. Not worried about super smooth because it is land. So the foam is fairly dry. So just so we know what's lake and what's the ground, I'm going to just give it a little color. This is grayish blue. I just mixed a little blue and black and white together. Work with the curve, and then the same for the ground cover. Greenish, brownish. I got a miscellaneous bucket of different foliage scraps that I've kept. I think some of this is gonna work great. I keep random peanut butter jar caps and jars around for all my stuff. Sometimes I like to work with just a little bit of glue. I think I'll go, this might be too sticky, but let's just start it, see if it works. That might be too thick a glue, but I just want to take a little bit of my tacky glue, a little bit of foliage glue. It's a mixture of coffee grounds, sand, fine turf. So I bought some of these types of trees at the dollar store. I took one of this size, trimmed it down. What I like to do with these guys is take some glue and just to zhuzh them up. Put some of that PVA glue all around and either dunk or sprinkle some of the fine foliage on it, and it makes a more realistic little tree 1,000 times better. So let's set that aside to dry in case I use him. Got a piece of wood here. I want to cut it in half. Let's see if this is the size. If I had a cabin, what size would it be? All right, I kind of like the look of that cabin. Okay, so I'm gonna take these two little pieces of wood chunk, even it up. We're gonna glue them together. We have some sandpaper. I believe this is from Jolene, Tiny Keyhole Minis, one of my mini friends. Now I want to try an experiment. So what my plan is, this might be a silly idea. Take some glue on all 4 sides of this little teeny block. And then I'm going to take this string. I'm really only worried about 2 sides looking good. So I'm going to see if this will work. I always have weird ideas. Glue one side in place. You stay. And way to hold this without getting glue on my hands, but we're going to try it, okay? We're going to go like this. I really just care if 2 sides look good. And maybe I didn't need to do the glue first, but okay. I'm worried about this side. This side. Okay, so now we have this wrapped thing here. I don't know. I'm just coming up with this as I go. Now I'm gonna take some more PVA glue right in the corner here. Take another piece of that string, kind of give it a corner edge. I'm gonna take some of this string and I want to stiffen it up. I want to make little pillars for the little overhang here. So let's take some, this is PVA glue, it is on our fingers. Okay, I'm just going to lay this to the side to dry straight. I'm gonna go ahead and stick my little cabin inside the diorama for now, and then I can work around it and add to it while it's in there. But just so it's in place, because the foam is still drying. If that foam shrinks or something, I want it to shrink with the cabin in place. And then I can build my land around it as well. Just adding some more land around the cabin. All right, friends, it's been a couple days here and we're back at it. What I'm gonna do next is get my little water layer in there. So I'm gonna use UV resin for that. I think I'm gonna take my resin and I'm gonna mix it with a little tint of blue. Not too blue. Let me play around with the color. I might need to mix a little blue and green together, or blue and yellow together to make it a little less bright blue. So I'm gonna put my mask on. So we have a little beginnings of our lake. I'm gonna work on some of the shoreline now. I'm just using some play sand. This is like sandbox sand, and it's great because at least the sand we have has a mixture of fine sand and little like teeny pebbles. We're working with the curvature of the can. I'm just using, this is just PVA glue, and working along the shoreline. Some fine sand in the back. Now I'm basically looking for the bigger pebbles I want over here. We'll let that first layer of shoreline dry. I'm gonna add some little bit of bushes more so around the camp. I wanna add a little dock in. Just using a little coffee stir stick. This is just cut up pieces of yarn. Just a tint of this color. Maybe it'll look like flowers. Hi, my friends. It's been a few days for me. It's taking me a while to do this project because I am enjoying the summer with my family. Getting out and doing things is just going to take as long as it takes. I'm going to continue on. I'm not sure where I left off, but I'm going to continue on working on some foliage. I have one of these little toothpick type things. I want to have a canoe. Every time you see a camp, there's always going to be an old canoe. So I'm going to try to sand this into a canoe shape. It's going to be an upside down canoe. We're just looking for the idea of a canoe. In my head, the canoe has to be red. Been dragged up on shore, so the bottom's gonna be a little bit worn out. I'm gonna snip it off the rest of it. Okay, I like that. Adds a little color. I'm liking it, but I think I'm gonna add more texture to the trees in the background. They're just feeling a little too flat. So adding some rocks. I think we're going to call it, my friends. I'm very happy with how this turned out. This is a mini can, and I think it came out pretty great. I would like to do more of these mini cans, so if you have any ideas, let me know. If you made it this far in the video, please comment below with your favorite summertime activity and a fun summertime icon of some sort, sunglasses, sun, canoe, whatever you like to do. I'd love to hear what you guys are up to this summer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.